Let me tell you a little bit about the Fabric. Fabric is a co-creation studio. A lot of you are familiar with accelerators, incubators, and I get asked all these questions all the time is, what are you folks? Are you an incubator or an accelerator? Are you regular venture capitalists? And I say, we are none or all of the above. So what we do is what we call as co-creation. Number one, we are thematically focused. We focus on cloud and IoT infrastructure. When Prabhakar and I started, Prabhakar, my co-founder, and I started the Fabric, what we saw was a secular movement to the cloud. With the secular movement to the cloud, we felt there would be enormous disruption in the infrastructure space, which gives us an opportunity to develop companies, multiple companies in this space. And the second, in addition to the cloud, was also great opportunities created in the IoT space. The third thing that we saw is that the amount of time and effort and expertise to create companies in the infrastructure space was not being served by existing funding scenarios. As you heard in the last panel or the panel, couple of panels back, was that even to get post-seed, an investor mentioned that you need $1 million ARR. Try getting that in an infrastructure space. That would be quite a wondrous achievement if you have to work all the way through. Even to get pre-seed, you got to have a prototype. That is an enormous bar to climb, let alone trying to figure out what exactly you need to do to get to a stage where you can even get a pre-seed. So that is where the Fabric comes in. The Fabric is to work with innovative entrepreneurs, and the Fabric will co-create the companies, and I'll explain the term a little bit to you in a couple of slides. So essentially what we are showing over here is it's a very high-touch model. I don't want to spend too much time on this particular slide. The success of our model is shown in the slide in that 3 of the first 4 companies that we started in Fund 1 had an exit, and we gave a 77% IRR, which is an astounding exit in the space. And it also shows the strength and the validation of this model. And we'll talk a little bit about the companies that were created along the way here. So let's just talk about what co-creation is. We start with the fact that we identify a white space in the area of cloud and IoT. Let's just say we start at a 1,000,000-foot level and say that there's an opportunity that people have to operate in multiple clouds and have to ensure security across all of these clouds. That is a very, very high-level idea, and we go out looking for entrepreneurs who may share the same passion or have domain expertise in the security space, in the infrastructure space, and really are looking to start a company in this area. Typically, we look for is a products person and or a technologist who can work with us. This is in the ideation space, what we call as a collaborative ideation space. In the collaborative ideation space, we are actually starting with a whiteboard, and we say, just like some of you entrepreneurs would have started a company and you had a wild idea and you're going looking for co-founders who can work with you, is in a very similar fashion. We sketch an idea and say, how do you solve the problem of having security across multiple clouds? And there you have not yet defined what exactly is the nature of the problem. We start to have a thesis down on paper. We go out. We look for validation as ideas. At this point, the co-founders and us have basically are willing to walk away at any time saying that there is no opportunity in this space, or if there is an opportunity, let's firm up the idea even more. The next step, and this typically takes a while. I mean, we start off with a very, very high-level view, boil it down to a 100 to 1,000-foot idea and say, hey, security across multiple clouds, maybe doing security assurance and compliance assurance across all the infrastructure pieces in cloud, as an example. And from there, you put down into a PowerPoint, and you're also working simultaneously with entrepreneurs who may be a products guy or a technology guy, and start to harden this further. We go and visit maybe over 100 customers or potential prospective customers, and through their feedback, we create an MRD and a PRD. The next step after that is to say, what is the technology that can be used to solve this problem? And typically what we find is the hardest thing is the problem definition, and the second hardest thing is to find an appropriate technological approach to solve this problem. That's the reason we look for a products person and a technology person to begin with. Along with the co-creator founders, we also inject, at this point, we're injecting capital, maybe up to about $350,000 to form the company, what we call as a formation capital. And with this, we are able to come out with a solid products requirements document. And once we have an MRD and a PRD, we then start to say, let's start to develop the technology. We do additional capital infusion. And to start to create a prototype, maybe initially a click-through demo, then a prototype, and maybe an alpha version of the product. At this point, we are able to take it out to customers and sign up lighthouse customers who will be the first set of customers who are willing to try this product. As you'll notice repeatedly along this way, that what we try to do is market first, customer first in our approach. We need to sign up lighthouse customers early on. That is the approach we take. Once we have maybe 5 or 6 lighthouse customers, we are further in the product development, we do more capital infusion and try to get a very minimal viable product. And we get this into the hand of customers where they can start to work with it and give us real-time feedback. And through this process, we also start to strengthen the team further, maybe get a potential first CEO person who can drive the company. Once we see that the product's getting accepted in a first lighthouse customer, maybe we get 10 customers, and then we start to inject a little bit more capital, and we start to create a real company, if you will, at that point. So the product entry and market rollout, we get the customers to trial, and they start to generate initial revenues. What we need to do is to get the companies to a stage where we can get them to what they call as a post-seed stage, where we work with other post-seed investors and get the product ready for Series A. And as you can see, we are a very high touch. We are operationally with the entrepreneur along the way. We have an innovation lab in Chennai in India, which actually works to help in the technology innovation process as you go behind previous stage. We have a market development team. We have a marketing person on staff. Shasha is sitting here. She does all our marketing and other things. And Prabhakar, who's my partner, is the chief strategist helping the companies. We have a market development person. Everything that an entrepreneur needs to get to the next level. And finally, even at the point of Series A, we actually continue to stay seriously engaged with the company. Obviously, we know a lot about the company. We at least have we meet with the company at least once a week, unlike other board members who come in every 6 weeks. The success of the model is the number of companies we have created and the number of companies we have exited, and also the number of companies who have won the TiE 50 award. We have just yesterday, 2 of our companies, IoTM and KMesh, won, I think it was Spanugo and KMesh, which, IoTM, yes, IoTM and KMesh, which won the TiE 50 award yesterday. We also had VeloCloud, which also got the TiE 50 award earlier, and had a tremendous exit, by the way, to VMware. So 3 of the first 4 companies, Fund 1 had an exit. We have Fund 2, IoTM and Spanugo. You can see they are in the IoT space and in the continuous security assurance space. And in Fund 3, we have 4 companies over here: KMesh, OpsCruise, Kavach, and CloudBrink. All of these areas are some of the hottest areas right now in the infrastructure area. One of the people in our earlier discussions asked, hey, Amazon and the Googles and the Azures dominate the cloud infrastructure space. Is there any real opportunity to create companies? I say there's plenty of opportunities to create companies. Infrastructure is not, Amazon, Googles, and Azures provide you the platform. By the way, 80% of the workload are still in the data center today. And there is a need for infrastructure elements on the top of the cloud. And each of these companies illustrate what those needs are. For example, Kmesh, which does a distributed file system, very high performance file systems across the cloud, is a data orchestration company. Data sovereignty issues need to be tackled, applications need to be moved around, or data needs to be moved around depending on all of the sovereignty issues. Kmesh helps solve that very easily. OpsCruise does continuous performance assurance using AI and model-driven techniques. People ask me, do we do AI companies? And I say, yes, we do. But AI is not an end in itself. It is how you use that for solving a specific problem. To continue to support these companies, the Fabric is also raising an additional opportunity fund. Our returns on this opportunity fund, we believe, will be very good. If somebody's interested, please feel to come and talk to me. And that basically is the essence of what we do. If you need any, if you're entrepreneurs and you are entrepreneurs in the infrastructure space, we'd love for you to come and talk to us. We are all continuously creating companies, and we are always looking for smart entrepreneurs, whether you're a technologist or whether you're an administrator. And if you're an investor, obviously would love to talk to you to see if you'd like to participate in investing in the Fabric. Thanks very much.